Welcome. This is the Bridge Network City Church, Canada. We're very glad to have you here. And our vision is outstanding life and service to God, transforming our world. We invite you to come for the word, but we know that you will stay for the kingdom. The Bridge Network is located in Canada, Vancouver, and we believe in connecting to each other, to the community, and to God. To support us and to be part of this, these are the information you need to be able to do that. We welcome you to our program today, and we trust that you're going to be blessed. Thank you so much for being with us. The Bridge Network City Church, Canada. God bless you. Okay, thank you for being here this morning. We're so glad to have you. We had an interesting first service. It's amazing the perspectives people have on the same topic. And I give God the glory for that, because the Bible talks about the how does it put it again? It talks about the multi-sided wisdom of God. It's like they said there's this story of when 5 blind people told to describe an elephant. One holds onto the trunk, one holds onto the leg and calls it a column, one holds onto the trunk and calls it a tube, one holds onto the tail and calls it whatever he wants to call it, and one holds onto the body and calls it a wall. Each one of them is right. But to get the full picture, you got to put all together what an elephant is. And that's the beauty of the method that we use at the Bridge Network. It's designed to bring several perspectives so that you don't sit on the edge without being part of it. My country, Nigeria, is going into one of its biggest elections, one of its nobody can predict what's going to happen right now, unlike before. So even now, we need to seek God's face as to what is expected of us, not the politicians, but what is expected of us. So I hope you get blessed by this, because Ademola comes from a very unique perspective. Again, Ademola Adewusi is a human resource consultant. He's also one of our ministers in the church, and he's a friend. I hope you get something out of it. God bless you. Shegun, you can go ahead.
We will see his face. But before we see his face, there is a race we have to do what? Run. And he will give us what? The glory to live in his grace. Meaning there is power for everything we're going through. He will comfort us. If it were going to be easy, he will not send a comforter. I hope you know. If he knew, he said, in fact, he says, many are the trials of the righteous, right? But the Lord God will do what? He will deliver them from it all. So I understand where you are this week, because I'm exactly where you are. You know the funny thing? I read a joke. He said, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, the poor are laughing at the rich. Ashebi, you have money. We are collected now. Our bankers were running from us. I will not mention names, but Teye is here. We thank God for his life. Okay. You know, it's a huge burden when there is palpable fear in the land. Everybody's sleeping and saying, what will happen tomorrow? I don't know. But somebody sent me a text. I thought it was a joke. He said, Ademola, but can the government seize all the money in our accounts and say we no longer have it? And I said, no, it's not going to happen. But that was fair. So, good morning, church. First, let me be very straightforward. If you missed first service, second service might be a bit iffy for you. So please, it is on the app. My slides are also going to be on the app. The app will make your life easy. And you can listen to it, because in this period we're in, we're having to see whether we should be salt, or we should be light, or we should be both. And I think the first service will help you. First, I want to thank the leadership of the church, especially Pastor Francis, Pastor Lumide, for giving me this opportunity. I know the reason why they give me anything that has to do with politics. Usually throw two of us in church, anything that has to do with politics. They either throw me or throw my brother Ajayi Okwe. It's okay. But I hope that by this time in the next 4 years, another electoral cycle, a lot of us here will also be within that space of politics. Because it has a lot. I'm not seeing my slides, please. It has a lot to do with our lives, more than you can even think about it. And I'm going to show you. The biblical reading I'm going to take is 1 Samuel 8. And please stay with me, because I'm going to read all of it. I have it, okay? Oh, very good. It says, when Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons as judges for Israel, meaning Israel did not have kings. Okay? Thank you. Israel did not have kings. The name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second was Abijah. They served at Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways. Please note that. Samuel, given to the Lord right from when he was a zygote, he now had sons who did not follow in his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain. They were collecting bribes and accepted bribes and perverted justice, because the priests used to rule and judge over Israel in the name of the Lord. So all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah, and they said to him, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now, appoint a king to lead us. These were people that God told them that, I am your king. I will do anything for you. They literally had no problems. And they said, appoint a king to lead us, such as other nations have. But when they said this, they said, give us a king to lead us. This displeased Samuel. Samuel was knowledgeable enough to know that politics, real or tereo, this is politics. You guys are rebelling against the Lord. So he prayed. And the Lord told him, listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their what? King. As they have done from the day I brought them out of Egypt until this day. Meaning God remembered all their transgressions, but he just chose not to remember. If you get what I'm talking about. Forsaking me and serving other gods. So they are doing to you now. Now listen to them, but warn them solemnly and let them know that what the king who will reign over them will do. And Samuel said, this is what the king who will reign over you will do. Listen, he will take your sons and make them serve with chariots and horses. They'll become soldiers. They'll go and face Boko Haram. They will run in front of his chariots. How can somebody on leg be running in front of a chariot? Just to honor the king. Some he will assign to be commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s. And others to plow his ground, not their own ground, the king's grounds, and reap his harvest, and still others to make weapons of war and equipment for his chariots. These were things they were not doing before, because God was fighting all their what? All their battles. He will take your daughters to be perfumers, cooks, and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive groves, and give them to his attendants. He will take a tenth of your grain and your vintage and give it to his officials and what? Attendants. Your men servants and maid servants and the best of your cattle and donkeys, he will take for his own use. He will take a tenth of your flocks And you yourselves will become what? His slaves. Now listen to this very well. It says, when that day comes, you will cry out for relief from the king you have chosen, and the Lord will not answer you in that day. Shall we close church and go? We should close and go, Abi. No, because a lot of the things I put in my slides, I don't know who showed my sister Zainab. I don't know who showed Pastor Olame. In fact, Zainab prayed 2 prayer points I had here to pray. But the people refused to listen to Samuel. Can you imagine? He told them the grievous things that would happen if they chose for themselves a king. But they didn't listen. No. They said, we want a king over us. Then it will be like all the other nations. They were so... they had an identity crisis. And I talked about identity crisis earlier in the morning. Have we? Israel had an identity crisis. I mean, I was here when my brother, Pastor Akinwale, was preaching, and he traced the covenant of God for Israel, from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. That genealogy ended at Jesus, Abi. For people who had that kind of covenant that God gave manna to, they still decided that they wanted to be like other nations that... So, we want to be like other nations with a king to lead us and go out before us and fight our battles. You know, anytime I read this thing, it makes me want all the battles they had won before they became a nation. Who won it? Some of the nations the Israelites fought against, they were so tall that the Israelites thought they were giants. Do you know that some of those battles, God won them with rumors? Yes, some with sound. The king of Assyria camped, and God said he will hear a rumor, and he will go back and he will flee. The man heard a rumor and left. People who God had done that for suddenly realized, we need a king to fight our battles. How? Identity crisis. They looked at how other nations would carry their kings and make speeches and decorate tables with gold and silver. They didn't know it was an expensive business. And that business will take away from your purse as a citizen. When Samuel heard all that the people said, he repeated it before the Lord. Baba, Moti Sofan people, I told them, but they are insistent that they want a king. And the Lord answered, listen to them and give them a king. Then Samuel said to the men of Israel, everybody go back to his town. You know, I usually make a joke about this whenever I say that. You know, the Bible is a very funny book if you have a sense of humor like mine. It says, and the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of the Lord, Abi, and he sold them into captivity. And people will be like, where were the elders? These were the elders who... But remember something. The reason why all of this came to pass was because the custodian of the Spirit of God, the calling of God, the covenant of God over Israel, had children who did not follow in his ways. So, how many of you know the names of the kings of Israel? Why is my slide not up now? You know, we know the names of a lot of the kings of Israel, but I can bet you that you've never heard some names, because in 208 years in the Bible, Israel had only 5 good kings and 33 bad kings. Does that tell you anything? Israel in 208 years had 5 good kings. Thank you. Yes. In 208 years, Israel only had 5 good kings and what? 33. By the way, no, don't run. Don't let my village people come here. Okay, so Israel had 5 good kings and 33 bad. You can research that one. There are names of Israeli kings that, let me not say the kings of Israel that you don't know. Thank you, sir. Let me show you. Nadab, Jeroboam, son. Jeroboam, obviously, son of Solomon. He practiced all the evils that his father practiced and ruled only 2 years. Baasha. How many of you have heard of Baasha before? King of Israel. He immediately killed everyone in Jeroboam's house. Ella. He assassinated Baasha and ruled only 2 years. While in a drunken stupor, he was assassinated. Zimri. He ruled only 1 week. Hearing that Zimri had become king, the people of Israel made Omri king and attacked Zimri in Tiza. Knowing he was defeated, Zimri committed suicide by going to the citadel at the king's house and burning it down upon himself. You burn the tower, the citadel. Omri, he proved to be more evil than all the kings before him, but he ruled 12 years. Ahab, you know Ahab now, the one that married Jezebel, who was the daughter of Ethbaal, the king of the Sidonians. She brought Baal worship. Okay? You know Isaiah, he ruled for only 2 years. I just wanted to show you a few things, a few of these kings, and the way turmoil was part of the story of Israel because they went the route of politics instead of the route of God's kingdom. Now, this is the law that the Lord gave to the Israeli. Sorry, why am I saying Israeli? I understand actually. I was supposed to be in Israel next week, but with what is going on in Nigeria, I can't put 2 million on the table and say I'm going to. I have a conference that is, this week actually, I have a conference starting on Wednesday. But when I looked at the situation of Nigeria, I said, let the Israelis be. Let me be here. So, this was what the Lord told the kings of Israel that they must not do. He said, the king must never own a large number of horses or make people return to Egypt to get more horses. The Lord has told you, you will never go back again. Meaning, don't import cars. The king must not live in luxury. The king must never have a large number of wives, or he will turn away from God. And he must never own a lot of gold and silver. Is that possible? So how will he be known as a king when he cannot command a harem of beautiful women and a store of value? When he becomes king, he should have the Levitical press make him a copy of the teachings on a scroll. Before they finish doing the copy, the man will have finished the CTO. Not photocopy, handwritten copy of the scroll of the Torah. He must keep it with him and read it his entire life. He will learn to fear the Lord his God and faithfully obey everything. Then he won't think it's better than the rest of the people, and he won't disobey these commandments. Let me ask you, are these possible for a king to obey? God deliberately set these high standards because he really didn't want them to go the way of having a king. All these things that he said they should not do are the symbols of kingship outside the kingdom of God. How will I not have an Ethiopian wife, a South African wife, a Nigerian wife, so that they know that, in fact, marrying wives for kings became a matter of allegiance, strategic partnership. If you know that there is a kingdom that is most, sophisticated in terms of weapons, you marry their daughter or marry their son so they don't attack you. It was for protection. It was to build wealth. Yet, this was what God said they should not do. Let's move. So, I have shown you now how politics entered into Israel. And you, as a Christian, you see what politics is doing now to Nigeria. And we are asking you to go into politics. And you are saying it is dark, it is dirty, it is greedy, it is murky and dangerous. I want you to look at this very well. Aside God, politics determines a lot of things concerning you. Without politics, you are nobody. When you were born, your birth had to be registered. Somebody had to say, yes, okay, this is the name you have chosen. Yes, this is the name this child will bear. When you get to the middle of your life and you find somebody you want to marry, we still have to drag ourselves to where? To the registry. For somebody to say, oh, you like you, say it in front of me. No, we've been saying it to ourselves. No, say it. Okay, you marry, okay, I will sign. Without that, you are nothing. You want to leave Nigeria, you have a passport. Even when I die, when you die, even when people have noticed that, they still have to go and call a doctor. Come and certify that this man has peme. And then the person will sign. And then the government will say it's true. He has died. You may now bury him. So from the beginning of your life, let me show you something. In some totalitarian countries, it was so bad that women had to register menstrual issues every month. China was one of them, to make sure that they controlled population. Up until 3 years ago, you could only have how many children, how many child? One. That's how pervasive the control of your life is with politics. Don't worry, some of you will say governance, but politics is the pathway to governance. Without politics, you don't have governance. So, every stage of your life, do you know that somebody could report us here for noise pollution?
Sorry, we lost our live stream. I want to apologize for that. I'm sure once they get a hang of it, they'll come right back to it. We can finish this video just in perspective that Mr. Adewusi has brought up to the table. So I think we'll just start again and end this one. I think we'll just stop this because I don't have access to the good quality broadcast. Maybe I should have done that. And thanks for this mix-up. We'll see if we can get the full thing.